let's get this thing started. Starting off with just kind of breaking it down with part one, which was titled Don't Count on It, Batman. As we kind of open this film, first and foremost, we get Superman's cry, ladies and gentlemen. We see Superman. We follow up with BVS, which I thought, I don't want to talk about Joss Whedon's film too much, but it's a much different opening from what we got, 4 years ago with the fear and the parademon and Batman and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We got the ramifications of a trilogy. We follow up exactly after BVS and the cry of Superman, hearing across the world, and the mother boxes have arisen. So Amanda, that opening scene, Superman, BVS, the cry has been heard, the bell's been rung, and now Darkseid has open field to the earth.
Like Soup said, it was a religious experience. Like, it literally was. I watched that opening and I was just like, this is the film. This is Zack Snyder's film. Like, right off the bat, you could feel that this was his vision. This was his movie. And I thought it was extremely well done, presenting, the death of Superman at the very beginning, like you said, and just carrying out into like a trilogy. Like, this is an unofficial Superman trilogy that we have. And just the waves and like of his scream, I thought it was really well done, because it's always hard to kind of like show that. But man, was that poetic. And then just the thing that Zack does, like he does best, and we'll go into it afterwards as well, is just the fact that he, in like 5 minutes, he created this massive like opening in this location. And then you have the intimate moment of Superman, like, and his death. And then you see that even through the cowl, like even Bruce Wayne's tearing up, and like Diane is tearing up. Like, it's such an emotional beginning, and really sets the tone for the whole film. It was just, oh my God, I was like hooked right then and there.
Tossing it to you, Alex, as Amanda just alluded to it, Zack Snyder knows how to open a film, from Man of Steel 2013, being on Krypton. I've never seen Krypton like that. And that was so awesome. That sci-fi moment. Never, ever. BVS, we get the opening of Batman being Batman. Bruce Wayne just jumping into action. Doesn't care, doesn't have his suit on. He's jumping into action. And then we get this opening here of Superman, reliving that moment. How did you feel about that opening of Superman's death?
Well, let me just tell you something. One thing he does very well, and I always said it and I always defend it, is the fact that he gives you different perspective of where the movie is from a different camera angle. So like Batman v Superman starts off, now this time Bruce Wayne landing on Metropolis, so you're seeing it through his eyes. Superman destroying the crap out of everything, and he's just like trying to save Wayne, the bank, his bank financials. Wayne. So I'm like, this is like, I was in the theater going crazy, because I was like, oh my God, he's going into the danger. One of the best openings. Then this one, I'm like, don't tell me this dude's gonna give me the same thing. And then you see it from Diana's point of view, and Batman standing there with the gun, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then you got the Atlanteans with I'm like, this is crazy. Like, everyone knew what was going, like what was happening, and I loved it. I know we're not talking about Aquaman yet, right? We're not talking about.
I'm gonna kind of briefly recap this first part. Yeah,
dude, I loved it, and it's just an amazing point. I just loved it, man. It really gets you right into the movie. Like,
gets you right. Yes, great point, man. And Soups, man, like I said, I know you said you got emotional earlier, reliving the death of Superman, my friend, as far as Doomsday taking him out, and the cry is heard around the world. And like I said, as Lex Luthor said, the bell's been rung.
Look, first of all, I love this opening scene, and I love how this movie closed a lot of the ties that we got from Man of Steel, from Batman versus Superman. It felt like a trilogy film. And, I actually have had this conversation with a ton of people, but now after watching this movie, I know a ton of fans out there that love Batman versus Superman a lot more because of seeing how it all went down, how it all closed up in Zack Snyder's Justice League. The fact that Superman's death was heard around the entire universe, and that prompted Steppenwolf to step out of the shadows and go collect those mother boxes, that adds to the death of Superman when you see it in Batman versus Superman. And we saw it at the beginning of this film, and dude, it was just, what an opening, what a way to pick up where we left off with Zack Snyder and his story. So I loved it. I loved how they treated Superman in this movie. It was like, this was a love letter to Superman fans.
We'll get to that, man.
Man.
Soups, Henry Cavill. We got the hashtag restore the Snyderverse, and there's another hashtag that's been floated around since 2013. And that's hashtag Man of Steel 2. But
I know.
Yeah, man.
Kolby, man, you press play. You open the scene up with the death of Superman. The cries heard around from Atlanteans to Themyscira to around the world, man. And it's time for the mother boxes to come home.
It's crazy because I know we don't want to have to constantly compare and contrast between this and Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the first images that we get, it's such a stark difference. And mainly it's because of the tone. There's a thematic resonance between Man of Steel, between Batman v Superman, and now in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where we pick up in one film after the climax of the other. Where in Man of Steel, we heard the cry from Superman so much differently. After he had to this is the first time that he's ever knowingly had to kill a man in order to save someone else's life. And now in Batman v Superman, where he literally had to give up his own life to be able to save the entire world. And the thematic resonance of that scream, that cry that was just spreading out like a beacon, signaling to some people of this great loss, but then to others of evildoers that Earth's biggest protector is gone. And like the way that he'd be able to carry that is so, that's the whole point of seeing someone's like true vision realized. And being able to sit with that without having to worry about some like horrible CGI mustache, to kind of like make the entire tone completely different. What it doesn't do, it doesn't cheapen the effect of what happened in the previous film. That we're dealing with events that is immediately preceding seconds after his death. And it's something about it that has such weight to it. And it doesn't feel cheap and it feels earned. And it's one of those things where, gosh, where do we go from here? Right? Because now I'm in the same emotional state as Diana, as Bruce. And now I'm just traveling with them to see how they're going to deal with the grief and loss of their compatriot, a warrior in arms. Great way to start off and kick off a film.
It's a great way you put it, man. And again, if this would have played out, March of 2016, March 25th, 2016, and November 17th of 2017, that, carrying over again, not comparing to Marvel, but from how we went from Infinity War right to Endgame, having that emotional connection would have been there. But it's incredible that the emotional connection, at least for me, 4 years later, I still felt that moment. Going back to BVS. So it speaks again to what Snyder had, his vision. Mama Geekly talking about CGI mustache. Yeah, well, I don't know where those notes came in to have that opening. much different opening. But just kind of recapping it, and we'll break down this first part, talking about our pros and cons, but just kind of going over briefly. Part one, don't count on it, Batman. We see Bruce Wayne making his way to the small town to recruit Aquaman, as we kind of see them having their conversation there. And we'll talk about the moment of the young lady sniffing Aquaman's clothes. But I do have some things to say about that moment.
I wanted to sniff his clothes too.
There's
no shame.
I mean, he has good laundry, man. He has some freshener stuff going on there. But we have, within this recruiting scene, Bruce Wayne going in there, offering them money, talking to Arthur Curry, and showing the importance of him needing warriors. We cut to Diana being a badass warrior, going into this bank scene, just wreck and shop, killing some folks, which we'll talk about here in a second. But then we kind of wrap up this first part with, I didn't expect the Amazonians to be so heavily involved in this film. And oh my goodness, Hippolyta being the queen of Themyscira, the Amazonians taking on Steppenwolf, seeing the menacing nature of Steppenwolf, slicing and dicing Amazonians with his axe. We see Hippolyta being a queen. She has to choose between the mother box and her sisters in arms, and the decision that she makes. Listen, this first part, 36 minutes long. Don't count on it, Batman. Amanda, let's talk about it. Starting off with that, the recruiting of Aquaman, leading into where we are at the screen now with the Amazonians.
First of all, I don't know what they did to Ben Affleck in Justice League, but my man looked amazing at the beginning of this movie. He actually looked like himself. Thank God. He looked awesome. It was great to start with him, and he was bringing everyone together. So obviously, you would start with him. Right off the bat, Zack created such tension between Batfleck and Arthur Curry, and I loved it. The dialogue, it was smart, and Chris Terrio like his script for this was just like god tier. Every single conversation had a point and it moved everything forward for these characters and it developed them so well. But yeah, that conversation between Arthur and Bruce was just perfect, and he just like whips out the money and I'm like, yeah, he's rich. This is what he would do, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had great banter. Love that scene. I didn't mind her smelling his shirt, as I said before. Like, it's the song kind of just freaked me out a little bit, but then when people were saying that like they see obviously Aquaman as a god, like it made complete sense as to why, right? So then moving into the Wonder Woman bank scene, incredible. When I mean goosebumps, I mean goosebumps. She was fantastic. And I've said it before, like there was nothing wrong with Gal's performance in 2017 for Wonder Woman, but there's something that Zack Snyder does to get a different performance out of Gal.
Warrior.
Warrior. Completely. And it's so different, but like she performs better when he's directing. No offense to Patty, don't get me wrong.
I understand what you're saying.
It's just so different. And then even Junkie XL's score in that bank scene alone, like I almost fainted because it was just like, I was like, what? Because she's just like flying all over the place. It's like the editing, it was just fantastic. It was so good. And then I got emotional when she leaned down. She's like, "Are you okay, princess?" And then the kid's like, like something along the lines of, "Can I,
grow up to be like you?"
Like that. And then she's like, "You can be whatever you want to be." Tears, literal tears. I'm not even joking there. So those small moments, again, you create these big scenes, but then the intimate moments like that keep your heroes grounded. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And then going to Themyscira. What? Like what? The armor for the Amazons, if I hear one person say that he sexualized those women, I'm gonna snap, because I was looking at them like I want to be them. Did you see their abs? The freaking strength that they had? I was losing it. I don't want to hear people say shit. I really don't. Queen Hippolyta, queen shit, like absolutely amazing. The flip on the wall, unreal. Like running away, the whole sequence was fantastic. And the line that sticks out, show them your fear.
Show them your fear.
I was
Come on, man.
Literally screaming with them. I'm like, yes, let's mess up Steppenwolf, because when even the spikes on Steppenwolf, unreal. Dude, like everything was moving, everything. He was fantastic. I'm out of breath now, but it was the first part. But like, oh my god, I lost my mind. It was perfect.
A lot of good stuff you said there, man. And picking it up the baton there, Alex. She says something regarding, and look, I'm right there with you, Patty Jenkins. She touches on a little something. So this is the beauty of Wonder Woman. She is an Amazonian, badass warrior, but she's also compassion, love. And I think Patty Jenkins focuses more on that of the character. Not saying that she doesn't focus on the badass nature of her, but even Wonder Woman 84, like she's preventing people from hitting the wall. She doesn't have her sword. She doesn't have her shield. She's a little bit more of love and compassion. Zack Snyder's about that life, but he's also about that Amazonian slicing and dicing. I mean, she's killing folks in this scene, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to hear Batman's killing people, Superman. Like, she's getting the job done. I don't want to hear that stuff. Alex, man, what were some of the highlights for you with this first part, man?
I mean, Amanda said it, but I liked when Bruce went up to Aquaman. He already knew he was Aquaman. That's the best part about the whole scene.
Detective. He
was there and he was just looking at him, and he already knew. And the best part about the whole scene, because we even bring it up here because it was only Amanda talking first, but is the fact that he knew the language, because he talked to him right on it, and that's when he grabbed him and slammed him on the wall. And I was like, yes. I was like, that's what we were missing. Like, he already knew. He was detective. Like, yes, he did the language, and I was getting amped with that. And then once they got to the bank sequence, okay, now let me get to this bank sequence, because I was the one who kept saying this, Elliot, and I've been saying this for a long time. The reason why I did not like 1917 Wonder Woman, and the reason why I didn't like 1987 or 80, whatever the crappy sequel was, that one, is because this was the Wonder Woman I wanted in the solo movie.
Yes.
And I kept telling everyone, I was like, Zack Snyder gave me, when I saw Batman v Superman, I was like, this is what I wanted on the solo movie, and we didn't get that. We got the lighthearted, version of Wonder Woman, which is okay, because a director has their own versions anyway that they want to put on screen. Right. But this is what I wanted, dude. That bank sequence was Christopher Nolan. I think he directed this bank sequence, bro. He was like a secret director because it was literally the Joker back.
Yeah, we were just missing yellow school buses. That was
it. That's all we were missing.
Yeah.
That's all we were missing. And I was like, holy crap. Like, this is, I mean, and it's like night and day compared to the other, one version that we saw. Like, it was totally different. And I was like,
you notice the difference in the music, right?
Yes, the music, bro. The music changes everything.
That's what it was.
The entire
music
tone
changes
of the
everything.
scene is completely different.
Yep.
Yeah, the music and the color grading, because the color grading that changed the whole landscape. Yeah, it's like it was a graphic novel. Like, you're just switching the pages and you're like, whoa, like, no way. That scene, crazy. When they went to the Amazonian land and my man Steppenwolf, I liked Steppenwolf in this movie. I don't know. He was more menacing for some reason.
Oh, without a doubt.
But I was like, holy crap. And and thank God he did not get that line that I loved you. And remember when he said I love you in the Josh version?
He had mommy issues for sure.
Yeah, he was like, I'll make you love me or whatever crap. And all of a sudden he went into the beam. He says,
adore me.
Yeah. He was like, one day you will love me. And then he just went away. And I was like, what? And in this one, he's like, your time will come. I was like, yes, I'm waiting. But the fact that they were all shooting him with arrows and then he just turned on the armor and it snapped all of it. I was like, holy crap. This is awesome. And then the Amazons came way too late because they just like 20,000 of them decided to come mad late. But I loved it. First part, excellent.
Soups, man. What's your thoughts on this first half here, man? What were some of the standout moments for you in this Don't Count on It Batman Part 1?
So first off, with the way they opened up the movie coming off of the events of Batman versus Superman, I thought it added so much more to that scene with Batman and Aquaman, because I'm sure you guys can agree with me. In this film, we really felt Batman's character development. And Batman versus Superman, he was this guy that was just, trying to tear everyone apart. He was going based off of statistics.
He was on a mission.
In this movie, he's on a mission to unite everyone and bring everyone together, and he's running based off of faith. And with that opening scene from Batman versus Superman, the death of Superman directly changed the entire Batman character in this movie, and I loved it. So I thought the villagers singing to Jason, I thought that was a little weird,
a little long-winded too. It looked like a weird minutes. But yeah.
But then after that, when we transfer over to like the Wonder Woman bank sequence, that was so perfect. That again, like Kolby said, the music completely changed the entire scene for me. Like that Batman versus Superman and Wonder Woman theme, where it's like bump, 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 bump. Oh my god, it's too good. And then on top of that, we have Warrior Wonder Woman, who's literally bashing heads against walls. And then in a split second, she's inspiring a little girl, telling her that she could be whatever she wants to be. And I look at that scene and a scene of Wonder Woman telling a little girl that she could be whatever she wants to be. I don't understand how you cut that from a freaking movie. How did that get cut? Like, people should be arrested for cutting this scene, honestly.
Jail. Jail.
I'm serious. Like, just the impact this would have had on so many people back in 2017 is incredible. So I don't understand how that got cut in the first place. But then we go over to Themyscira, and just Steppenwolf's entrance is so much better. He feels so much more menacing. Yeah. And then the Amazons just sound so much more badass. Show him your fear. We have no fear. Oh my, it was so good. And I actually went back and rewatched the 2017 version of this entire sequence, and it was way shorter compared to what we got in this movie. So it all came together a lot better. By the end of the entire sequence, you really felt like Steppenwolf really defeated the Amazons. Like Hippolyta was she was beaten down, bro. And it adds more to the brooding nature of Steppenwolf as a villain. So like that, when he progresses throughout the film, you're just like, okay, who's going to stop this dude? It's kind of like Infinity War. Like Infinity War opens up with Thanos kicking Thor's ass. You're like, all right, who's going to take this dude down? Same thing with Steppenwolf here.
Yep. Well said, man. And Kolby, man, just your thoughts on this opening sequence, the moments that stood out to you. And we can elaborate on maybe the things that didn't work, which I think collectively speaking, I think we can say that scene with Aquaman, I think someone already alluded to it, but these are gods among men. As you said earlier, Soups, this is what I love about DC is we're not looking, and I love me some Marvel stuff, right? We got superheroes, Spider-Man, they're discovering their powers. And the DC, we're dealing with gods, okay? So it's just like they're worshiping, Aquaman there, and he brings food to them. So I understand the sentiment. It just, the execution was a little bit weird, but nonetheless, Kolby, positives and negatives of this first part for you. Don't count on it, Batman.
No, I think execution's ultimately left up to the viewer in regards to the things that are like, what's subjective to them, right? In regards to what pleases them, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to understand when we won, how beautiful. What I love about Zack Snyder is that, yes, he's overly self-indulgent, but he has every right to be, right? As a storyteller of a person who has amassed this amazing career, and he tells some of the best visual stories, I'm all the way with it. It's the same leash that I give to Quentin Tarantino. It's the same leash that I give to Wes Anderson. It's the same leash that I give to Christopher Nolan, and Zack Snyder is none the different. So when we can be able to get this shot going over these Icelandic caverns where we find Bruce Wayne searching for Aquaman, right? And he knows. And the thing is that for a lot of these characters, we interpret them based on how we were when we were kids. Every time that we see Batman do detective work, you know what he always has that's different than what we see in this movie? His cape and cowl on. He's doing this as Bruce. He's coming to this man who is bigger than him, greater than him, right? And he's coming in to show him, yo, I'm going to go so much as to not do the whole like smoke and pony show, to not know who I am. I'm letting you know up front, I am Bruce Wayne, and I'm asking for your help because I don't have time for any of the smoke and mirrors, right? And I'm coming to this place in the middle of the day when we know that Batman operates at night. I find it really amazing that we get this different depiction because we've seen Batman in the dark. You know, we've seen Batman do all these different things, but like that's a clear choice that I'm giving this director the leash to be able to do it. And it was wonderful. And like I said, I don't want to get in the business of comparing and contrasting, but the scene had room to be able to breathe. None of the Joss little one-liners and things of that nature. None of the bad CGI. Like there was that one shot in 2017 where like he awkwardly like goes back into the water. Like, what? Okay, all right, cool. And to be honest with you, I didn't mind this entire village that's kind of like calling out to them. They're appreciative. Every time that he comes, he's able to bring provision for them. Because they know that this entire bay is frozen over. Ships cannot get them food. And it's not like they got a lot of crops and stuff like that going around. So to be able to hold them up as a godlike figure, maybe sniffing is a little bit long. But I also watched Midsummer 2 years ago, and there's some other things that go on.
Yeah, dude, I got those vibes. Right? You know what I'm saying? Bro, I got those vibes, like cultish vibes.
Yes. They're probably bringing out the water. They want that Atlantic little, I have no idea. No clue. And I'm absolutely fine with it. There was nothing that was done in that scene that's like detracting from it, right? And keep in mind, I've seen the movie 3 times. I am individually rating. I'm going to be releasing a podcast on every individual scene of this movie. So I've been taking plenty of notes. But the fact that we can be able to go from there and then to London, and that scene has room to breathe. Like Soup said, it's longer. The action set piece has room to be able to breathe. It legitimizes these anarchists that are here and what they're doing. And it does what Zack has been able to do this better than any other director. Superman, the movie, is one of the greatest Superman stories ever to be told. However, it cannot live up to the capacity of the potential of that character because the technology wasn't available in the 70s. Exactly. But now we have technology that we can be able to depict these superheroes in the way that we've imagined them inside the comics and that we've seen in the cartoons and the animated shows and the movies, right? Seeing Wonder Woman at super speed, catching bullets, deflecting bullets, using her gauntlets, it is amazing to be able to watch the super slow down, the super speed up. Like that's just stuff that we haven't been able to see. And it's a great depiction of their powers. And then the fact that we can be able to see this entire scene in Themyscira completely brief. There was something about it in Justice League that just felt wonky, right? I was like, what are we doing here? Why do the Amazons look cheap? Why are they getting easily dispensed by the parademons? Here, they're giving the parademons, like the first time that we see the parademons come out from the boom tube, they're getting shot up and yanked, son. Like, and that's what I want to be able to see. These badass women standing at guard. And for the folks that don't understand, well, why are they there even before the mother box is awakened? They understand that 5,000 years ago, there was a being from the other side of the universe coming there to destroy their planet. They're always on guard. So there's troops that have been there forever. You know, obviously they're taking turns and taking naps and stuff like that, but that is their job. So the moment that thing wakes up, they're on guard. And my homegirl comes up shaking. She's so good. It's crazy because that's the same action that's inside of Krypton. I'm like, yo, she's so good, bro. And like the fact that, yes, Steppenwolf is so, look at this. Can we appreciate the CGI? And how they made sure that every penny was put into to make sure that Steppenwolf looks so dope, especially when they get up close. And it's crazy. He's got this kitten-like eyes, but this kind of scaly skin, the techno-organic armor that can be able to come through. And it just looks dope. He moves faster than in Justice League because Justice League, it was a mask over of a mask over. Right? Yeah. So like none of that stuff was done. So he was so lumbering. But in this one, when he comes out of the ground, Hippolyta thinks that, man, I had to sacrifice hundreds of my warriors to be able to drown this fool. But I don't know exactly how strong he is. Him and Parademons come up out the water. And she's like, oh my God, I have sunk this and he's still alive. I don't know what to do. The scene had room to be able to breathe. The action, therefore, felt so much more impactful. And I felt the weight that like, yo, he is not going to stop. And you feel that every time that he's on screen. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better first part of it. And it's crazy because in my mind, I forgot that this was 6 parts. So I'm like, wait, part 1's only 37 minutes.
So got 3.5 hours to go.
Great start.
You know what's funny? What you said about Bruce Wayne doing, Batman stuff without the cape. He did the same thing in Batman v Superman when he was in the underground fight scene and he told the guy fighting how to beat the guy, and then he looked at the Russian to get the phone. I was like, this is what I'm talking about, man.
And this is why Batfleck is such a GOAT, because Bruce Wayne is the mask. Batman is who he is, and we feel that throughout this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they even say it in that scene that he had no way he could make it here. He climbed over mountains and all this stuff. Just shows you again just the nature of Bruce Wayne. He's a badass. And again, Zack Snyder, if there's an ounce of badassery in that character, he's going to bring it out of you. And he does such a great job in all his sketches. So part 1, as you guys can see, we were big fans of it. Let us know in the chat some of your favorite moments. It was a great way to kick off the film, which brings us